Hey there, wrestling fans, and welcome to another edition of the Squared Slice. I'm your friendly neighborhood Soda, joined by the ringmaster Dustin Dubuque and his manager. What's the name of your manager?
Dudley.
Dudley.
So
Oh,
he's one of the Dudley boys. Yep, named
nice,
after
very nice. Did you actually
named
name him
after the
after the
family.
Dudley family?
Yep.
I approve. I approve.
Yeah, I figured you would.
Hmm.
Yeah, no, we were coming up with our dogs' names are. We always flip flop the first letters for my wife Martha and D for Dustin. So our other dog's name's Mally, so she got to pick it. And then when it came to the next dog, we start with the D. So I went with Dudley because I was like, I want a wrestling name, but not on the nose.
Yeah, and
You know.
Dudley is a good one. Did you see that Bubba Ray Dudley is going to be on Broken Skull Sessions?
I did. That's interesting, right? Like,
I'm
I,
looking
I,
forward to that.
I was a little surprised by that. Like, I don't know,
Really?
just because the way I not surprised that he's not like a WWE guy, but like, Bubba's a pretty outspoken dude nowadays.
For sure, but I mean, like like Vince McMahon has always said, like if there's business to be done, we'll do it. And
Right.
Bubba is the same way for the most part.
Have you kept up on the Broken Skull sessions lately?
No, I fell behind a long time
I
ago.
know, so have I. Even though I've heard, hey Ben, the last couple I've heard are awesome.
Mm-hmm. Well, Ron
So
Simmons is interesting.
that's the one I want to watch. My goal is to watch it maybe by next week for our monthly roundup
Oh
show.
yeah,
Since that, so I think that's on my list because I heard it was great.
well, I'm definitely have to check that out then. But that's not why we're here. That's next week. What we're here for it is we are on the road to WrestleMania here in the WWE, and so this month we figured it would be fun to present our top 5 list of WrestleMania opening matches. This might be the literally the best technical matches. It could be the matches that you enjoyed the most while you were growing up. We obviously it seems like we both took different approaches to this list, so this should be interesting. However, I got a feeling we might have the same number one. We might.
You know, you're gonna hate me, but I think I went contrarian just to be contrarian for the list
Well,
because I kind of did the list and I went. I think Soda and I are gonna have the same number one. So
yeah,
I might have cheated and flip flop my number one to number two.
that's okay. I put
Just
things off lists for the same reason.
just to keep it interesting, Soda, because I know that it's the same number one. I just know it. I think it's too obvious and too easy.
Yeah. Well, of course, it's one of the greatest. If it is the same match, it's one of the greatest of all time, probably.
Exactly, it is. So I have a question before you get started. You said you
Course.
alluded to what was the criteria? How did you think about it?
Um, since I'm just a pure wrestling fan for the most part, I went for the ones that I thought were the matches that had me on the edge of their seats.
Yeah, I kind of did too. I kind of was thinking that. I was like, because I almost made two separate lists because we said we're doing top five and then we're going to do some honorable mentions at the
Yeah.
Afterwards. I almost left my moments on the honorable mentions side.
Mm.
Like that's kind of where because there's a couple that I know aren't good matches or like not anything super memorable other than the moment
Yeah.
of the match.
Well, one of the honorable mentions is it's not more the moment; it's more everything surrounding it.
Sure. So before I have to ask, just because we're not doing a list on them because we wouldn't want to. What's a couple of the matches you're like, oh man, this is a bad start.
Oh,
super random, like ones that slip through the cracks that you just.
Well, I can't remember who he faced, but the very first WrestleMania opener, Tino Santana against Shawn Michaels versus Tatanka was a great match until the DQ finish.
Yep, I rewatched that one. You know, the other one that's so random. That was like it's so mid '90s WWF was Luger and Bulldog versus the Blue Brothers.
WrestleMania 11.
Yeah, how random.
Yeah, that is pretty random.
And to talk the fact that the year before Luger's wrestling Yokozuna for that heavyweight title.
Yeah,
and 1 year later,
from Grace.
Yeah, little bit. That was the one that stuck out like a sore thumb to me. Was that one?
Oh, really?
Yeah, that one. I'm just like, this is the Blue Brothers, man. I understand that they had some moments later and they were big in the the late territories, early indies, but that Blue Brothers gimmick was a rough one.
Yeah, it definitely was. It definitely tried to go for that Appalachian redneck thing. For those who don't know, the Blue Brothers later went on to become the Harris Brothers. So it
Harris
also
Brothers,
Skull
yep.
and Eight Balls. Skull and Eight Ball?
Still an
Yeah.
8 ball.
Yeah.
I like DOA, by the way, just to throw that in there.
I don't remember much about, like, obviously I remember the weird gang wars, but that's about it.
It's just so stupid. So early Attitude Era.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to think if there's any other ones that I remember that I was just like, oh man, that's really random. But
Well,
it was. Sorry.
I'd say that one would probably be the most random because as you get later on, it's just you definitely get to see bigger stars. Like 17, 18, you had Jericho in the opener. You had who was in WrestleMania 19? You had Matt Hardy and Rey Mysterio in 19. You had like some top talent opening the show. So after a while, it kind of became smooth sailing. You were expecting the opening match to be good for the most part.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Totally. It wasn't top heavy loaded as wrestling went on.
Yeah. Whereas when you do the main events, that's going to be a little bit more different. There's going to be some more in the early years.
That's going to be
especially.
That's going to be a tough one.
For sure.
It's going to be a tough one, Soda. All right, Soda, I want to hear it.
Because I was going to say, which Hogan match do I include on the list, right?
I know, right? You're going to have to be like, which Hogan match, which Shawn match, which Cena match, which modern last 7 years match.
Well, I was going to say, I almost said best Bret match, but he's only had 2 matches in the main event of WrestleMania, 10 and 12.
10 and 12. That's crazy, right?
That is.
Did you see the stat? Speaking of that, did you see that Roman Reigns stat that he's the first?
No.
He's the first champ since Hogan to headline WrestleMania 2 years in a row as the champ, not losing. So he still has the title from his last reign. Hogan did it from WrestleMania 1 to WrestleMania 3. And now Roman's doing it. Nobody else did that, where they didn't lose the title from main event to main event.
Huh.
Right.
Wow, wow. I was thinking, it's like, you can see, no, Cena had a few in that year interruptions.
That's right. It's just little interruptions. Same with
never thought of that.
Yeah, I didn't either. Who would have thought of that until it came out across my Twitter timeline? That Roman's the first one since the first 3 WrestleManias to do that.
Wow, that's
impressive. Right. Isn't it amazing that just thinking of the dominant sections of like Triple H.
Yeah.
When he was the champ, Bret and like Cena. How did this just not happen?
If anyone would have been more likely, it would have been Cena in his heyday.
Right. How did Cena not hold the belt for 365 days?
Yeah.
To get from Mania to Mania.
Well, I mean, that's one of the wrestling things that it seems like Mr. McMahon was trying to get away from because he did kind of have that like in the early days of the WWF, but not so much.
Yeah.
So I think like if there's any other title holders that would be like in WWE, but I can't think of one that's had a hold on a belt that long.
Right. So interesting. Had to throw it out there. I wouldn't remember in a month from now when we're going to talk about it, so I'll talk about it now. All right, Soda, I'll let you start. Number 5. I want to see how many do you think, first off, before you start, how many do you think we have the same match on our list? How many, if you had to take a guess?
I'm going to say 3.
I also say 3.
Okay.
I think there's 3 because one of mine, I'll go into that in a second. You go.
So this is actually speaking of Cena. My number 5 is the opening match of WrestleMania 20. It is essentially the arrival of the Doctor of Thugonomics. It is Big Show versus John Cena for the United States Championship. This is John Cena's first big win. This is the launch. This is when they strapped the rocket onto him and said, "Here you go, kid."
It really is. This is my number 1 honorable mention. Cena. It was the one I couldn't because just to preface my list, I always, no matter what list I do, if it's 5 or 10, it kind of goes back to what you said. I always throw a more fun thing at the last spot. And so I kick that off for a fun random match. But no, totally. It is. I rewatched it. So that was one of the matches I rewatched. I really rewatched a lot of opening matches. One thing I learned on Peacock, because I don't pay the $10, I pay the $5.
Yeah.
So I have the ads. But on WrestleManias, there's no ad before the first match on most of them. So I'm like, this is really fast and easy. I can click on them and see if I like them and skip. But I did watch the whole Cena show match, and it is such a coming out party.
Right. It is a very tightly booked match. It didn't even go 10 minutes. Cena came off like a star. I think that was the first time he'd ever F5 or FU'd the Big Show.
Yeah, twice.
Twice, yeah.
He does
And he
it
still,
twice.
that was back when he still did orthogonomics, so he had the chain around the fist, and he did the New York wrap, and
Yep.
yeah, no, definitely a coming out party for John Cena, and it's a match of his that I feel when you talk about great John Cena matches doesn't get the love it deserves.
Who was, and I don't know why I'm blanking on this. The main event of that Mania is.
Oh, that was the triple threat for the World Heavyweight Championship with the person whose name we shall not.
Yeah, that's what I thought, because that was like the whole big shtick of that. Like they almost like bookended that Mania, right? They had the guy who was this like the long-standing workhorse finally getting his moment, while at the beginning of the pay-per-view, it's giving the moment to the new guy.
Yeah,
who's like right. And again, I don't know if you like. Maybe it's because I watched a few of these, and Big Show just happened to be in this like couple in a row.
Mm-hmm.
Man, you forget what good a shape he was in this.
Oh, for sure.
Like, 20 years does a lot for a guy who's 7 feet tall and 500 pounds.
And he looks good now.
He does look good now. But man, it was just interesting to see him. But you pointed out the part of the match I like the most: tight, quick, and just going.
Yeah,
like 8 good minutes.
13 seconds.
Well, 9 minutes, 13 seconds. Yeah. God, it doesn't even feel that long when you watch it.
It does not, no.
And it's always the thing I remembered, even when I didn't, even though I rewatched it, I knew it going in. I'm like, this is a tight, quick thing, and it just gets exactly where you want it to go.
Yeah, and it got the crowd just where you wanted them for a show, which WrestleMania 20 is, in my opinion, top third of WrestleManias.
Totally. Yeah, it's a great Mania.
Yeah.
And, that
I
is
just
the other
watched
part.
that main event actually the other day.
Did you really? That is a main event I have, for obvious probably reasons.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you. I don't know if I've ever rewatched it.
I don't watch said person's matches often, but once in a while I will get the itch, and that's how I ended up watching that match. Damn.
I want to rewatch it now that you brought it up, especially since we're going to do main events. Yeah. I honestly don't know if I've seen it since I watched it on pay-per-view.
Well, if you are interested, it is in that wrestling playlist I shared with you.
Okay. Well, thank you, Soda. You are such a sweetheart, a scholar, and a savior.
I try. Now Ringmaster, what is your number?
My number 7. So again, I do have a little bit of an edge. I did take time out of my day yesterday and like really blasted. And one match, I know we were just talking off air. The only little bit we talked was the early pay-per-views, early WrestleManias. Opening match is rough.
Yep.
It's very rough on some of them. But this one match that's super fun, and I'm going to strongly encourage you to go watch it, is the Rockers versus Haku and Barbarian.
WrestleMania 6?
7.
No, I've seen that match a lot.
So freaking, that's just straight fun. It's straight like, hey, you 4 guys need to go out there and get the crowd. Let's get this place going. And it feels that way the whole time. Barbarian looked... I'm not a big Barbarian guy. He's so, he's a big bulky dude who's a little wooden. He's like moving all over the place in this. Haku's in good shape. And Marty and Sean are just bouncing all over the place in this.
It's been a bit since I've seen that pay-per-view, but that is one that I used to watch the VHS tapes.
Really?
A lot. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and it's not one I remember.
Full disclosure, it's got one of my... That WrestleMania's got one of my all-time favorite matches.
What's that one?
Warrior Savage.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I don't remember. I must not have had the VHS of 7. I don't think I did.
I used to rent it from the local video store, and then when they were getting rid of the VHSs, I bought it.
Yeah, see, I don't remember. I don't think I ever did, because I think as a kid I would have been all over this.
Yeah,
but
when you're a kid,
it's one of the better
WrestleManias.
And again, it's not a Mania I have really any memories of, because I just don't think it was a tape that But I will admit, so to go on and rewatch it. It is so...
Oh, I've been planning on it. And one of the things I like, one of the rare things I like about the WWE Network in Terrace is because it's through your cable provider, I actually have a WWE Network channel. So in the months leading up to the pay-per-view, they will be airing past versions of the pay-per-view. So right now, obviously, with WrestleMania season, so I just recorded WrestleMania 5. I'm hoping they drop WrestleMania 7 in there.
I'm hoping so, just for you. I'm hoping for it happens.
Yeah, because that's a pretty good card. I know the build to the main event was a little skittish, but I enjoyed Hogan, Slaughter, of course, Savage.
I don't mind Hogan and Slaughter in that Mania. People People give it too much crap.
Yeah, it's
I
not the
thought it was
worst
fun.
one.
We will talk about that in a month. It's definitely not the worst one.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the one. It's of all these ones, it means nothing. It's just a throwaway tag match, but fun tag match.
Right on. So my number 4 is actually the most recent one on my list. It is from WrestleMania 34. It is the triple threat match for the WWE Intercontinental title, Seth Rollins, The Miz, Finn Balor. This was a match that we're like, I can't believe that they're actually going to book it. And then you got it, and you're like, sweet, it's WrestleMania. And then it kicks off the show. You're like, even better. These guys definitely set the pace for the show. And this is arguably one of the better WrestleManias in the last 10 years.
It
and
is.
these guys
34 is good.
set the pace. You got 3 of the hottest, like some of the best in-ring talent that they have in the company right now. And yes, I'm saying The Miz is one of the best as well. The dude is a great sports entertainer. I'm a huge fan of The Miz. Yeah, so no, this was a fun match to watch. Like I said, it set the tone for a really, really great pay-per-view. And yeah, 3 great Hall of Fame caliber talents. Not WWE Hall of Fame, but just wrestling in general.
Yeah, no, and the thing I love about The Miz when it comes to WrestleManias is that there's 80,000 people in a building.
Yeah.
And when you hear 80,000, which again in wrestling's rare nowadays, when you hear 80,000 people never want The Miz to win, it always feels so good.
Yeah,
like there's something about it. It's something about it, and in this triple threat, it feels like that because he looks like he stands out a little bit because Seth and Finn are so technical, and that's like the side where Miz is WWE.
Yeah, you guys, it's like two-thirds indie, 1/3 WWE.
Exactly, but no, it's really good. Another match I rewatched that I caught myself like I clicked on it. I'm like, I don't need to rewatch this. I remember it, and then I watched the whole thing because I'm like, this is really good. And
this is another Mania where I'm like, I might watch the whole thing because this is another show that I thought was pretty good.
Yeah, it's good. No, it's really good. I also love the part where, the part that always stuck out to me was when Rollins goes to do the buckle bomb to Finn on the outside to allude to how he messed up his Universal title run, and I'm just like, that's such a good throwaway in there. But yeah, super good. Is that? That's another honorable mention. You're hitting 2 of my honorable mentions.
Oh, hey.
So this one, I think this one is, I'm assuming is on your list if I had to take a guess. It's WrestleMania 30. Yeah, I figured. So I assumed. I'm like, this is Soda. Yeah. This is all Soda on this one. So it is Triple H versus Daniel Bryan.
Yeah, it's a little bit of ways.
Yeah, I bet. It's just the greatness of it. Yeah. Like, this is the other great modern pay-per-view, WrestleMania 30. Everybody just wanted it. Like, you feel it when you watch it. Like, I mean, the crowd is buzzing right away. The second the music hits and they know the opening match is H and Bryan. Everybody wants it. And again, the way it's set up, the way the booking is, there's you know that Bryan pretty much can't lose. But you don't care because you still want to watch him beat Triple H in the match because it's all you want after. How long was it? How long was the lead up to this?
From SummerSlam. So
9 months, 8 months,
70 months. Yeah.
Sure, that's all you wanted was Bryan to kick Triple H in the face,
and he did. And what's funny is, if I'm not mistaken, this is the debut of the Flying Knee as a finisher.
Is it in this?
I think it is.
I always thought, I will admit, not to go.
Or no, that was the SummerSlam match. Sorry, that was
okay. I was gonna say, the one thing about the Flying Knee that I actually thought, even when I remember watching it in the main event, because he, like you said, the move wasn't necessarily established as the finisher. I always found it weird that came in so heavily in the main event as like the finish, and I'm like, I don't know. It doesn't really make sense yet, but I get it. It does. Who cares? But yes, great opening match. Everybody was sick of Triple H's shit. Everybody wanted Bryan. It was ultimate when WWE is good. It's extremely good.
This is Triple H's last great match. His last good match, in my opinion, was against Batista the following year. But his last truly great match was against Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania.
Yes, 100%.
Sorry, against Batista 5 years later. Sorry,
no problem. Yeah,
I was thinking about 34.
No, I agree. I think this is, this was the end of the last big Triple H run.
Yeah. Like, we did get him a couple times afterwards, mostly for Mania and stuff like that. Like, his match with Rousey and against Rousey and Angle was a really, really, really good match. Would I put it in a great category? No, but it's a really good match.
Love it.
And like I said, his match against Batista is no hold barred one. Like, who doesn't remember him pulling out Batista's nose ring with a pair of pliers?
That's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a good one. Yeah, but it just, we had so much of that Triple H.
Mm-hmm.
That you just wanted him to get his face kicked in by Bryan.
Yeah,
good for it.
Everyone was so Bryan that, it was time.
I'm not surprised it's higher on your list. I kind of figured that one.
Okay, so my number 3 now is from all the way back from WrestleMania 21, Rey Mysterio versus Eddie Guerrero.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man. To think this was Eddie Guerrero's last WrestleMania match.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll let you go. I am less interested in that match than probably other people are.
Is it their best match? No, for me, that's not their Halloween Havoc match. But for their WWE output, I think it's the best one they did in WWE.
Yeah, that's probably right.
It was just a simple match. Two old longtime friends wanted to see who could best up each other. The tag team champs just went out a one-on-one, and they put on a very solid match. And Mania 21 definitely had its high spots, but it wasn't, in my opinion, it's not one of the better ones, but this was definitely one of the better matches on the card. Another one of my all-time favorites also came from this card too, Angle Michaels.
Angle Michaels, man.
Yeah.
Angle Michaels, so good.
And that was when the first time they actually went over was right when they were in the ring, I think is what I'd read.
Really?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, maybe I misread that.
No, you're probably right. That is that time is peak Angle.
Yes,
it's just that's just the best he was. Was this like year or two? But yeah, no, I did rewatch parts of it. I'll admit I never got really invested in Eddie and Rey at that time period. Mm-hmm. It never was a reason I watched wrestling. So I think that's just why it just doesn't. In no way am I taking away how great they are.
Yeah,
it just never was something that pulled me.
No, I do agree with you. Like I said, their WCW stuff was far and away better.
I think so too. Yeah, I just didn't have
matches. No, this is a pretty damn good opening.
Yeah, and I'm sorry. I know you might disagree. I do not like Rey's outfit in that match. I think it's very distracting.
If I'm being honest, I don't like a lot of Rey Mysterio's his plainer outfits. They just, especially when he's just wearing like that top. Yeah, no, I'm with you. It's not one of my favorite ones. It is going to be featured in WWE 2K22.
Is it really that one?
Yeah, well, the showcase is Rey Mysterio's career, so you're actually going to be doing that match.
Right, I suppose that makes sense.
I get my copy.
Oh, you got it on pre-order.
Yeah,
are you ready?
I bought the NWO edition. And so I get it 3 days before the normal release.
I do want to say, Soda, that I don't buy wrestling games because I just not my thing. But I love Papa Shango so much.
He's in there.
That I know. I almost want to buy it just to wrestle as Papa Shango. That's almost the whole reason why.
Hey man, if you wait till it gets cheaper, we could potentially play cross-platform online.
I think that's what we're gonna have to do, just so I can Papa Shango the shit out of you, Soda. That's what I'm gonna do. My number 3 is, well, now that I know your Triple H Bryan is probably number 2, and I know you're number 1. Interesting. Mine is WrestleMania 23, and that's the Money in the Bank match that year.
Yeah, I don't have any Money in the Bank ladder matches on mine.
See, I can't get away from that one. I really didn't want to put it on there. And I really didn't want to go with a ladder match because after I went through it a little bit, I realized there was like 4 or 5 of them that opened.
Yeah, especially like in the early 30s.
Yeah, I was like, holy shit, was it just like, here, let's have a ladder match, open the show because it's big spots. Mm-hmm. But there's something about, and I remember during our Money in the Bank paper episode we did, there's something about that one. I was such a huge fan of a couple of the talents in it that I don't think I cared. And I, at that time, was such a huge Kennedy fan.
Yeah.
I was
written all over him.
all in on Mr. Kennedy. And I remember watching it live, and all I wanted him to do was win it. I'm also a huge Finlay fan. And in that Money in the Bank plus the one the next year, Finlay goes balls to the wall in these matches for a 50-year-old vet.
And let's not forget the year before, we had Nature Boy Ric Flair.
Flair. Yeah, with Finlay. Finlay was in that one too. Finlay did 3 in a row. But I don't know. There's something about that, and I do love. I mean, the Green Bay plunge or whatever he calls it off the ladder on
Green Bay plunge,
on Swoggle is just still so awesome.
Yeah,
I just love it. It's a great spot.
Let's just say this will not be the last time we talk about Hornswoggle a little bit.
Oh man, man. I know where you're going.
Yeah,
yeah, no,
this is one of the
might be my favorite Money in the Bank too. I think it just might be my favorite one.
I'd have to go back and rewatch it because I don't think I think I've seen this one once since it happened. This is the one where Edge got put through the ladder, right? Yeah.
I was just gonna say, and that was the first time I think that spot was done where they broke the ladder.
Okay.
I think it was because that was a huge.
Yeah, I remember just jumping out of my seat when I saw that. Yeah.
I don't remember. I think before that I ever remember the ladder break on the outside spot like that.
Yeah,
and I mean Jeff is on a huge ladder when he jumps through them too. I mean it's awesome. So not only do you get the huge spot, you get the push to Kennedy, which never worked because Kennedy kind of messed himself up, and Kennedy was his own worst enemy.
Pretty much.
But yeah, I loved it. I didn't want to either. I thought you were going to do that. I'm like, Soda's not going to put any of these ladder matches on this list. It feels like a cop-out almost, but I can't. I don't know. I could not do it.
If I'm being honest, in terms of like where they sit in the echelon of ladder matches, there may be none of the except maybe the first Money in the Bank ladder match. The first one's
really good.
Well, the first one's really good. I'd even give it to the second one as well. But outside of those, I don't think there. And obviously WrestleMania 10, I don't think there's that many great ladder matches in WrestleMania.
Oh, and this one, so you missed this
one. Oh, and let's not forget WrestleMania 16, the triple threat, the triangle ladder match, which I just watched the other day as well.
Really? God, that's a match I haven't seen in a while either.
That's another one that's on that playlist.
I'm gonna keep going through it.
Yeah, let's just say it this way: it's got all of those big matches between those 3 teams from that era in there.
Well, that never gets old. I mean, it's the most. I don't know if anything's more rewatchable.
I put that ladder match. I posted TLC 1, TLC 2, and I even put the very first tables match from.
I love that first tables match.
I love that pay-per-view, period.
Yeah, so do I. That tables match, I love it.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right, you're up.
Okay, so my number 2 we've already talked about. It is Daniel Bryan versus Triple H. This was. I was so happy that my Yes Movement shirt I should have worn came in, so I was able to wear it when I went and saw this in the movie theater when I saw WrestleMania 30. It was awesome because you knew he's going to win in the main event, and you knew when that happened that he was going to win, and the pop that he got when he pinned Triple H, man. Oh. And then they carried it over after the match where he beat the crap out of Daniel Bryan, and the doubt was cast as to whether he would appear in the main event. But that's a match we're going to be talking about another day.
We'll hold it off then.
Yeah.
But the other thing I'll give it to, I know, is, sometimes people get on wrestling for being too predictable.
Mm-hmm.
But again, if done right,
oh yeah,
it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And nothing about that WrestleMania. I mean, it was predictable.
Mm-hmm.
We knew Bryan was winning it all because why wouldn't he?
Yeah, they would have been so stupid to not do that.
Right. So it still was so great.
Mm-hmm.
It is a great feeling. I mean, it's hard in wrestling sometimes, especially in the last 10 years, especially WWE, to really get that feeling of like, this is great.
Yeah, and not just that, you got a great WrestleMania moment out of that, which is that.
You got
two.
You got 2 out of that. Plus, I think personally,
something dropped.
It's so funny. Plus, I think another moment in that main event, which again we'll probably talk about in a month, is the Power Batista Bomb RKO, which is awesome.
Yep.
Every time, it's such an awesome spot, and it goes so good. But yeah, no, I agree with you, man. I should have known it was going to be high on your list. I should have guessed.
And so now I know what your number 2 is.
My number 2 is Bret and Owen.
Okay, can we talk about it when it's my turn?
We'll skip it.
Yeah,
we'll skip it. We'll switch. I'll do my number 1.
Yeah.
So my number 1 is my contrarian one.
Before we do that, let's do our honorable mentions.
Okay, let's do that.
Yeah, you go first.
So, you said the show Cena.
Mm-hmm.
This Miz Seth Finn. That was an honorable mention of mine.
Yeah.
The other 3 I had, I'll go quick and we'll see if they match up. And again, I went for moments. Oh geez, I can't read my own writing. What the hell do I have here? Actually a match that's really good. It's underrated, and I only wanted to throw it on here because is Kane and Orton from WrestleMania 28.
Oh, I haven't seen that one forever.
Because why would you?
Yeah.
Because it on paper isn't interesting, but it's I'm one of the people in the last few years of Kane's.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just like, I'm done. I don't need to see Kane anymore. But man, there's something about it that's just a straight up good WWE match. That's all it is.
When he came back with the mask?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, it's really good, really random. Then the other 2, one is for fun just because I love brute force matches. Finley and JBL.
Hey, this is the one I was talking about with Hornswoggle.
Yes.
The trash can, he just whips it at him.
Just whips it at him. And not only is that a great spot, JBL and Finley, what do they have, 6 minutes?
Something like that, yeah.
And it's literally let's beat
2 days ago?
What was that?
I watched this one 2 days ago, man.
Really? I love it because it's literally like they left the curtain and they said, hey, we're the opener. We don't really have that much of a story, but we have 6 minutes and some more.
minutes. Or 8 minutes, 40 seconds.
So we have 8 minutes and we get to beat each other up.
Yeah.
Let's just beat each other up.
Yeah, and that's where they're both from that school. And kudos to Hornswoggle, man. That trash can shot.
Trash can shot.
It was. He flipped him with the trash can and he whirled it at him from the inside of the ring to the outside.
I know, it's so good.
That spot, it's a good, enjoyable match, but that spot alone makes the match for me.
It does.
Yeah,
it's a great spot, makes the match, and it's just good. I like stiff, which you don't see often, and those 2 guys stiffed each other the whole match
for sure.
And then my last one, this is straight moment. Nothing about the match. It's WrestleMania 14 when Road Warriors returned in the Battle Royal.
Great one.
That's a VHS I watched a ton.
Me too.
And it's a match I watched a ton just for the Road Warriors. And I mean, yep.
Her last career on the WWE.
I mean, Sunny looking good. So those are mine. What about you?
So mine, I've got the WrestleMania 31 ladder match because I actually do enjoy that one.
I had that on my
out of those era ladder matches, I'd say that's the best one.
Okay.
This is the only time one of these competitors will ever appear on any of my lists. For WrestleMania 27, Edge versus Alberta Del Rio, because for 9 years this was Edge's last match.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, the next night he retired.
That's right. Okay, I'll give you that for that one.
Yeah, and like I said, that's the only time you'll ever see Alberta Del Scumbag on my list. Of course, JBL versus Finley. And then this one, because it was one of the competitors' first solo outings at WrestleMania, from WrestleMania 8, Tino Santana versus the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels.
Yep, I wrote that also down. It's very good.
Yeah. They put Michaels with some really good people back then. Like, there was this one at WrestleMania 8, and then at SummerSlam that year, he had a match against Rick Martel, which was a very rare hero versus heel match in that era. But that's another quietly good one.
That is a good match. That's one of, if people were to say what are good Martel matches, that's one that always pops in my head.
Yeah.
Yeah, that Tito match is good, though. Again, it just falls under the... Tito Santana was never a guy I got into. I have no connection with Tito Santana.
Me neither. Like, I mean, yeah, when he came on screen, it was like most things like cool. But he's one, as I've gotten older, as I've watched some of his stuff, it's like, he knew how to make his opponent look good.
That was his... I read his book. That is his thesis through the book. Yeah. Did you know he was never a bad guy?
Yes, that I knew.
Yeah.
Him and Steamboat are the only two that I can think of from that era.
Yeah. Yep. But that's his thesis in the book is he goes, I was there to make everyone better than me.
And he did.
And that's why he never cared. He was like, I had a job in the WWE for like 13 years. And I made a lot of money. And all I had to do was make other people better than me.
One of the more dependable wrestlers from that era. You want a good match. If anybody, you put them against Tito Santana.
Yep, that's it. It's
and
the 80s X-Pac.
He won the very first WrestleMania match. So
hey, gotta have a feather in your cap for something.
Yeah.
So is that, or do you have one more?
Oh no, that's it for the honorable mentions. Let's go into your number one then.
So my number one, again, it's probably not a real number one if I'm making the final list, but it's the one that I will, outside of WrestleMania 10, I love. I just love it because I had so much fun and it's still great. And I rewatched it today just to get ready for this. Yeah. That's Shane McMahon versus AJ Styles at WrestleMania.
Really?
It's great.
Oh, no, I agree with you. It's just on the list-worthy one.
I love it. I remember watching it and because 33 is overall not a good Mania, so maybe that's why this match looks better because it is.
Florida?
What was that?
That's the one with Reigns and Taker.
Yeah, it's the Florida one. Yeah.
Yeah, the only great moment that I can remember from that is when the Hardys returned.
That's the other big moment. But I mean, this match has so much. Shane, it's the best he looked in his last run. AJ literally makes Shane McMahon look like an all-star. I mean, and Shane does it all. He does a shooting star press in it.
Yeah.
What the fuck? And then they do everything. Both of them do all the things that they know how to do, and they just beat each other. It's just a great match, and it just shows how good AJ is, how entertaining Shane is. And I mean, Styles hits the style clash on on Shane. They do coast to coast. They do phenomenal forms. They taunt each other. I still love it. It's like one of my favorite matches probably the last 10 years. And I would be my number 2 if I was making a real list, but I just want to compare you. But it's the perfect opener. To me, and if I was to put a WrestleMania card together, that's the match. That's a type of match I would want as my number one.
Is really over my number one? Really?
No. Now, I mean, I want
in the real world
multi-year storyline with two brothers coming from the dungeon.
Yeah,
of course I would.
Yeah.
But if I had a throwaway match that really meant nothing,
it's true. Everything you said was spot on. It was one that I was like hemming and hawing and putting on my list, but at the end, I don't know, I just couldn't justify it.
Yeah, I get it. I understand, but it's a great time.
Quick, favorite Shane McMahon match.
I mean, if you're really looking at it, I mean, nothing beats the Angle Shane match. I just think it's too great.
And then Street Fight is another one.
Yes, I do love that, and again, I love the Shane AJ match. I'm sorry, I will put that as a match.
And I will throw my hat in the ring for X-Pac Shane McMahon for WrestleMania 15.
Yes, yeah, that's a random one that people forget about.
Yeah. Well, because the whole pay-per-view as a whole gets shit on.
Yes.
Outside of outside of the main event and people giving them guff for hanging the Big Boss Man.
That is brutal.
Yeah.
I remember that was, and I know I've said this on here before, that was one of the few moments where I remember my mom going like, holy crap, what are they doing?
Yeah.
This is
convincing.
It's super convincing, by the way. It literally looks like they hang him.
Yeah, but once you know the trick, you're like, nah.
I get it. But still, as a kid?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Well, I don't know. When was the first time I saw that? It came out in 99. So I probably didn't see it till the next year. So I was about 13. But even then, like, because, you know, time had moved past, I'm like, oh, come on, he's clearly not dead. It's like, I just saw him on TV.
That's true. Well, Soda, I'll let you take the lead on greatest opening match.
It's, in my opinion, the greatest opening match in history. It's not just WrestleMania, just history.
It's everything.
This is the match that convinced Beth Phoenix what she wanted to do for a living. This is the match that put Owen Hart on the map. Like, obviously, people knew who he was by that point, but this is the match that made him. It is him versus his brother, Bret Hart. And what I love about this match is this is not the original plan match they had. They threw it out day of, and they got their dad to help them put the match together.
Oh, really? I guess I didn't know that.
Yeah. No, this had twists, turns, surprises, and what happens? Owen Hart wins on a counter to a roll up.
And Brett's sell
Yeah.
of the counter when he just sits up and he realizes like he got bested.
He got me.
He got me. I love that. That's
Yeah.
so subtle. Like, oh fucking A, he just beat me.
Yeah. Now, if you want to watch a great technical, old school Canadian wrestling match, this is the match you go for: Owen Hart versus Bret Hart. However, this is not my favorite of their matches. That is from the next paper, second two pay-per-views from now, SummerSlam '94, the cage match for the title. Cage. That's the one I love.
The cage match for the title is really good.
Yeah,
but this one is just.
And you know what's amazing about that? If you really watch it, take a look. There's no high spots. It's just straight up wrestling match in a cage.
Besides that suplex, right? Is that the only one?
Suplex, that's the only high spot.
And there's something about, and again, it's when done right. And again, this is, wrestling evolves. We are where we are now, where everybody does flips and jumps all the time.
Yeah.
But there is something about that cage suplex that they do. Yeah. It's the one high spot, and it's the spot you remember from the match.
It's not like a sore thumb, but it fits like properly into the glove.
And it's a suplex from the top rope, Soda.
Yeah,
it happens all the time now. Yeah, it's just interesting that way.
When those two got in the ring together, it's magic. But also, this match played into the last shots of WrestleMania 10 when Bret won the title from Yokozuna. Who's one of the last people we see? A jealous Owen Hart from the entranceway saying, "What the hell? I just beat this guy."
Yeah. Well, in that 6 months of Bret and Owen, was so good, from the Survivor Series to the Royal Rumble to, I've said it on here that when he kicks Bret's foot at the Royal Rumble, he was the first wrestler I remember just hating.
Really?
Because I couldn't believe that, because I'm a Bret guy.
Right. That's right.
All day. So like that to me was like the ultimate.
Mm-hmm.
What a prick. This brother of his that would take down his and cry and whine because Bret stole his. I love it. Yeah. It is though. It is. It's an unmatched classic that I don't know what anybody could ever do to be better than it.
Yeah, there's really I honestly couldn't think.
Well, and now that it's 2 nights, I don't know if why would that ever be a thing? Because now you're giving 2 main events,
2 opening matches. Yeah,
2 opening matches. The opening matches don't need to be this anymore.
Mm-hmm. They don't have to, it's just they don't need to.
They don't need to. They just don't need to. The opening match is probably moving forward going to be
in WWE ways.
In WWE, yeah. Tag title match.
Yeah. Ugh, hope not.
Throwaway Intercontinental belt match, because they don't need it, because they have 2 main events.
Yep.
They have 2 attraction matches, and they don't need the opener anymore because of the 2 nights. So, yeah. Well, I like your list, Soda. One thing I'll come up with is I was shocked at how better the matches were than I thought they were going to be.
See, me it's the other way around. I thought for some reason I had in my head that there was more.
Really, I kind of had the thought of I thought this was going to be really bad, and I was like, okay, I know 3 off the top of my head, and honorable mentions are going to be really rough. But I don't know. I was like, okay. But I also wrote down, I guess if you look at it, there's 37 Manias, and I wrote down 14.
Yeah.
So, that's 40%.
Yeah. But, if you look at that first half slate, it's there's not that many great openers.
Yeah, it's bad. Like you said, Tito, Sean. And, maybe the only other moment from the first 15 that I'd point out is Bret breaking the trophy.
Right. That was one that almost went on, but that was just because that was a moment thing.
It's a moment. The Battle Royal is so rough, and it goes too long, and then it doesn't make sense how it's 2 bad guys.
Well, what you find out years later is originally they're planting the seeds for a Bret babyface run.
Babyface, but it almost doesn't work right there though.
It didn't go anywhere
because it's 2 bad guys, and then Bret loses. So to become a babyface, he gets mad and breaks the trophy.
I guess.
What?
It's 1980s, man.
What? It doesn't make any sense. But yeah, no.
There's no way Magnificent Morocco versus Paul Orndorff would ever make it on any list. That was a double count in the second WrestleMania.
Yes, that's it. It wasn't one of them. Hercules versus. He was a good guy at the time. it was God, it was like WrestleMania 5 or 6. Who did he wrestle at that? Martel?
Uh,
It was somebody really it's such a random like.
at 6,
Is it 5, 6?
well, 6, he faces Earthquake, gets squashed there. 5, he faced.
Right.
I know he was at 5, but who did he face in 5?
I'm trying to remember. I know Hercules was the baby face in that because I never liked Hercules baby face. It never made any sense to me because he literally looks like a
Yeah, it
bad
made
guy.
no sense to me either.
I never was.
Haku in WrestleMania 5.
That's the one I'm thinking
That's the one
of.
where he's the face. Because I remember him coming down the Trump Plaza. He's got that weird trumpeting music. So it had to be 5.
Yeah.
And I knew Heenan was involved somehow.
Because he was Haku's manager. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like Haku. He's good. Them Trump Plaza ones, man, they're so weird to watch.
Really? Those are two of my favorite to watch.
Those buildings are so weird looking. It's the aesthetics. Like, you're so used to one thing. It's so different.
I don't know, man. For me, it's the opposite. I love them because of how different they look.
So do I.
Yeah.
But they're just so different to watch.
Oh, for sure. Like the 2, 4, and 5 for sure are very, very different.
Right. Yeah. Not as bad as the outside ones. Those ones are really
9 had a good look. Had a good look. I thought it was pretty cool. I kind of like that idea of doing a theme. I thought I liked it.
Yeah. Yeah. And then, like you said, what was it, the 33 or whatever, the outdoor, the tropical.
That would be 33. Yeah, actually, I liked that set though because it had the roller coaster.
The
and all that.
Set was super cool. The rest of it looked super odd.
Yeah.
In the palm trees, like when I rewatched that, when they cut like far away, I'm like, this looks terrible.
Yeah. 24.
And which one was 24?
That's also in Orlando. I think it's also in Orlando, same place. But then it's like the canopy for the ring was pretty cool. It kind of was like this palm tree design and stuff.
That's right.
But it looked better.
That's right. Yeah, that roller coaster entrance.
Very, very cool.
The coolest.
Yeah.
But yeah, well, that was fun, Soda. It's going to be a lot harder to do main events in a month.
It's going to be a lot. We're probably going to be talking a lot longer.
Yeah, I think we're going to have to do top 10 list on that one.
We could.
I think we're going to have to.
Yeah. Because for me, there's like a couple Hulk Hogan matches where I'm like, I don't know if I can eliminate them. I can tell you 2 right off the bat that for me deserve to be on that list.
Right. Well, and when you're talking main events, you are talking moments.
Like moments, and it's going to be a mixture of moments and matches for sure.
It is. It's not just about the match in the main event. It's about why it is what it is.
Everything.
And why it's
what makes it special. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, that'll be fun in a month, Soda, as we lead up to WrestleMania.
Yes, sir. So till that month, where can everybody find you?
You could find me, Dustin Dubuque, on Twitter and Instagram. You could find me on Ben Rayner's show starting Monday nights on his own channel. I'm going to be talking The Office with him. I think I'm the first guest. What was that?
U.S. Office?
Yeah, U.S. Office. So we talk an hour to that. So check that out on his channel on Monday night. I believe at 7 p.m. If not, check his Twitter. Where can everybody find you, Soda?
So you can find me over my personal Instagram and Twitter at soda_the_saxman. You can find me. What's the next thing I've got going? I think the next time you see me might be on the Dropkicks on Saturday over on Let's Get Ready.
You'll see me too.
Oh, right. Oh, that's right. That is this weekend. Yes, because that's right. We're doing our AEW Revolution lead up. And then on Sunday, you can find me producing Northern Unwind. That's pretty much it for me coming up. So, on behalf of myself and Dustin, thank you very much for joining us. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And also, don't forget to drop in what your favorite WrestleMania opening matches are. And so, thank you very much for joining us. And we will see you next week when we step in between the ropes into the squared slice. So long, folks.